Okay, let's talk about the phases of how to heal your gut. So, gut healing always has to happen in multiple phases. Why? Because it's so sensitive and there's a ton of external and internal factors that affect number one. And then the goal is to get our processes maintaining at a great functionality. And then once you do that, then you can move into a calorie deficit. Because if we go into a calorie deficit without solving these issues, you're playing a guessing game of what is wrong with my body and why is my digestion suck and why am I bloated all the time? So the first thing you do is you reduce. So you need to have a plan of action to get that energy up, get your body moving, right? So reducing internal stressors and external stressors as much as possible. Exercise, and primarily that is in the form of high intensity cardio, right? And these high intensity cardio fitness classes, we want to preserve weight training because that is what is fueling our skeletal muscle building, our joint preservation, our bone preservation. We do not put that up, but we do still want to invest in low impact cardio exercises like walking because it can be a de-stressor. Trigger foods, so foods that you notice are obviously causing issues, right? Like if you go out to get Domino's on Fridays and afterwards you look like you're 8 months pregnant and you feel like crap, probably cut that out. Okay. Fear surrounding foods. Now, while much of our focus will be in the maintenance phase, so you don't have to worry about cutting or adding, um, we want to also reduce our fear because we do want to achieve balance through this process. We need to have our fun foods as well as the basis of a really solid, nutritious food that's going to support our balance every single day. And the last thing is toxins, most importantly, alcohol, because we know that the body prioritizing getting those toxins out of our body before absorbing and processing nutrients. So even if you've had an amazingly crushing day in nutrient density in your diet, once you drink alcohol, it is now prioritizing getting those toxins out of your body. So you've kind of wasted that effort and the money on the food, honestly. So keep that in consideration. Caffeine, while caffeine's not inherently bad, it can cause higher stress and higher inflammation. And we tend to just overconsume in this area. So if we can just reduce the caffeine or go decaf, that's a great way to go. And the obvious one is high sugar. There's sugar in everything. We eat a ton of processed sugar in the US. And how can we just get natural forms of sugar that also come in conjunction with fiber to help prevent the spikes of blood sugar throughout the day? Recording your progress is very important. It's important to keep your food log in MyFitnessPal so we know that when you have poor digestion and constipation and things like that, what was eaten and when and in how much, right? And then your bowel movements, frequency, time of day, how the consistency was it, a lot, a little, all that. All of those things are good to note because we can take the food you ate, how much, and how your digestion actually happened and really paint this picture. And then that information tells us when and how we can move to the remove phase. Occasionally we'll do like full gut microbiome testing here through stool, blood, and possibly oral. And then we can determine what we need to remove in terms of irritants, inflammatory intolerances, sensitivities, and that creates space for your gut to heal. In this phase, that gas, bloating, stomach pain tends to lessen and disappear once those foods are eliminated. And then there are times when people have bacteria, viruses, candida, parasites. And in that stage, you can take the steps to reverse and eliminate that. And it could involve taking antimicrobials, like listed here. Finally, we replace and promote the substances that were lacking in your digestion. And that may be how your digestive problems began in the first place, is not having the right nutrient density there. So options could be digestive enzymes that help to break down protein, fats, and carbs and really help your body move through that process a little easier. And then other supplements could be necessary for further digestion, but typically digestive enzymes solve the problem. So in the reinoculate phase, you reintroduce things like probiotics to then establish a microflora balance in your gut. So things like kimchi, sauerkraut could be helpful to introduce on incremental portions, not just overload the body, but just incremental portions. And then it could be helpful to also have other pre and probiotics as well. Finally, the repair phase, okay? So this stage supports intestinal cell growth, which is great, helps probiotic bacteria take up the residence in your gut, decrease inflammation further, and with those foods that are critical to cell structure formation and healing, you can help establish a healthy gut, right? So L-glutamine, bone broth, amino acids, colostrum, glutathione, aloe vera, marshmallow root, all of these things are then phenomenal for that. And then in the rebalance phase, you then have the capacity, because you've rebuilt your gut microbiome and your gut flora up, to eat more foods along with the energy. So the hope is to taper off that elimination phase and reintroduce foods, expand your diet to meet your macro and micronutrient needs, right? Like we've rebuilt it up to where it can handle more variety, which is essential to a really just overall wellness and health. So you can maintain that through eating enough fiber, enough probiotic foods, drinking enough water, and anti-inflammatory foods as well. All of those things can be done through nutrition. You do not need supplements for those. If for some reason you want to, or it's easier, or whatever, you can get all of that through your diet. But if you choose to supplement, you can. But I just want to highlight that you do not have to. But stress management is key here, mindful eating, and also avoiding investing in emotional stress eating. Super key here. But that's it, y'all. This is a dense one. This is a good one.